Good morning. It's me, your favorite blind lady. I just wanted to say I'm so glad to be doing this with you. And I know we've both had little moments of it being hard this week, but I feel like it's hard work that's paying off emotionally and hopefully sometime financially. Sometimes you got to put in the work. And this is me pumping up myself, but also pumping up you. And I'm just really thankful for this friendship and that we're doing something special together, even though it's hard sometimes. But not hard between us, you know what I mean. Fucking editing is hard. I feel like people were excited about it and they're listening to it this morning. Like, how cool is that? We're making something that people like so much that they look forward to it. Oh, crazy. They have something to look forward to, fuckers. Anyways, I'm walking to the grocery store and I just wanted to tell you that I love you. Okay, bye.
Hi, I'm Arielle.
And I'm Emma. And we have nothing to look forward to.
Especially today.
Everything's going wrong.
Oh my god.
In a comical way, though. Mm-hmm. We're laughing about it. Mm-hmm. But we're also pissed.
Yeah, because it's already hard enough to do things when you're disabled. And then when it doesn't work...
After all the things
you try and do. We tried to go out for a nice coffee or tea and a treat at Inch Bakery.
Yeah. We did get those things.
We did get them, but not without...
trials and tribulations.
Oh my god. Okay, let's record this like this for 5 minutes and then see if it works.
Yeah.
Just as a tester. And then I can make sure that it's not recording to the fucking Apple AirPods. Yeah. Oh my god.
Do you ever feel like you're just trying and then nothing works?
Well, I'm just taking another bite of my cookie pie.
Yeah. That Nanaimo bar was so good. Murphy, when you start talking, you can be on the podcast.
Yeah.
But until then, cut it out. Well, we were trying to record our podcast in a crowded cafe, and we thought, this will be so cute.
Mm-hmm. Wasn't cute.
No. The microphones weren't working. Arielle broke the iPad case.
Oh.
Murphy needed to be nursed.
It was everything we tried to do failed.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're here today to tell you more about how we're doing, because it feels like everything is failing. Not the podcast, though.
No.
I feel very positive about how it has felt so far to be in podcast land with you.
Yeah, I like being in podcast land with you, too. Mm-hmm. It's the only thing that brings me joy right now.
Oh, no.
No, but that's also not true. Like, food brings me joy, my children, my husband, my cats. I have bits and bops of joy in my life, but I feel like this has been so fun and also opening up so many tender spots.
Can you tell me about all your tender spots?
I thought you'd never ask. First, we should start with, how are we doing?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about right now. How are you doing? It sounds to me like you're feeling tender right now. Like a tenderized steak.
I am. I feel a little tender. You know what? I'm not used to... No, that's not true. I'm an external processor, so actually talking with you about things is good. Mm-hmm. But this is on a different scale.
Because you're not just talking to me.
Because I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to more people. Mm-hmm. And I like and dislike that. What are my thoughts? Talking in depth and then doing the editing process where you're hearing yourself talk over and over and over again about a specific topic, i.e. one of the hardest things that's happening to us. Mm-hmm. It is exhausting. Mm-hmm. We're also learning a lot of new things. We're learning how to make a podcast. Yeah. I think I could name 9 different computer programs that we have learned in the last month.
That's actually true.
So that's also difficult. My brain hurts from that. But emotionally, I'm realizing that if I'm going to open up about my journey with religion and my diagnosis and what it feels like in my relationships to be going blind and all of these things, I need to be also talking to a professional therapist at the same time.
Which you are now, right?
Which I am now.
Tell me about your therapist.
Found a new one. They are incredible. And I'm looking forward to my journey with them.
Great.
Yeah, they specialized in religious trauma, which is also, I think, going to be very helpful. I'm realizing after doing a whole episode, which was only scratching the tiny bit of surface about that it is such a big topic that so many people want to engage in and talk about. And I don't necessarily want to be the poster boy for leaving the church because I'm still processing a lot of it within myself still, but there's a lot of tender spots with it. And so when you open up something like that, when it's also so closely connected to my diagnosis and to the journey that I was going on while that was happening, I just feel a little sore. Emotionally.
That makes a lot of sense. That's a good way to describe it. Well, if you think about it, you were a Christian for how long?
I think I became a Christian when I was 6 or 7.
Yeah. So for almost 30 years.
Yeah.
That's been your life.
Totally.
That's been your framework. And then all of a sudden you started deconstructing it.
There's so many neural pathways that I am rewiring right now.
And you just started doing that.
And I just started that process 3 years ago.
That doesn't, your faith deconstruction is similar to how much we actually touched on it in the podcast. It's just a scratching of the surface of deconstruction of it.
Yeah.
Which is an excellent place to be in.
Yeah, it just makes you a little raw. And that's okay. I just accumulatively, with all of these things, feel a little anxiety-ish. Anxious?
I know what you're talking about. You're feeling the vulnerability hangover.
Absolutely.
I can imagine how difficult it is for you to be in the infancy of your leaving your faith. Everything that you thought was true is no longer true.
Yeah.
Because you're recreating like what's true for you, and that can really fuck you up in the head.
I'm also still so sensitive and aware of how other people may be hurt by what I say, which leaves me filtering myself maybe too much. Like I have so many more thoughts about this.
Oh yeah, and we didn't even, I think we both prepared for that episode wanting to really go for the jugular.
Yeah.
And we never did.
No, we didn't. We're so kind.
We kept making it easy for people to hear about how painful it is for us. Yeah, that was...
We made it very palatable. Palatable?
Palatable.
Palatable is when you die, right?
Palliative. We made it really good for dying.
Yes.
I mean, how appropriate, though.
So...
Yeah, it makes sense to me that you would feel sore about that. I'm really glad that you are feeling sore in a way, because I think it means that you are opening up to something you haven't opened up enough in your life, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it's also great that you're going to a therapist for that.
Yes. And now I am motivated to tend to those pieces with a professional, which is great. Good job, Emma.
Yeah, Emma, you're doing a great job.
Thanks.
What else are you feeling?
I am loving the way that people are responding and engaging in this podcast journey with us. I think it's so good. And that part is bringing me so much joy. But I don't want it to take away from us doing what we want to do and us talking about what we want to talk about. And I think too much about what other people are going to think about what we're making. And I want to care less about that. Thoughts and feelings?
Doing this podcast is the antithesis of my existence in the world. I don't want people to know this much about me, generally. You know? I really pride myself on being very welcoming, but being very closed off.
But being a stone wall.
I'm just a stone cold bitch. And so I feel similarly to you about, you know, this... I don't have the soreness about the religious deconstruction piece for me, because if I even went through that, it was a long time ago.
Yeah, you've always been a hippie.
Oh, yeah. I've always been like, there's more than one thing.
Yeah.
Since I was a baby,
exactly.
I was like, there's more than one boob. There's more than one. There's two of everything.
Exactly.
In the world.
At least
so
two.
there must be more things to think about when it comes especially to religion.
Yeah.
So I've always been a universalist and agnostic. You know?
Lucky.
I do think I'm lucky. I do count myself lucky.
I think that's a beautiful, open-armed way to look at the world. What are you feeling anxious? How's your mental health?
Oh, it's okay. I wasn't really necessarily prepared to spend my entire mat leave being vulnerable about how I'm slowly degenerating. Like that was, I didn't think that what I would be thinking about while I'm caring for my newborn was, oh, and here are all the things that you can't do. Because it's quite difficult to process the reality of having a debilitating disease and then also loving becoming a mother.
Yeah.
And then learning how to live in this body while also caring for somebody else. And then just telling everybody about it, which I have this very strong desire to never let anybody know how I'm really doing. Because first of all, you don't get to have that. You don't deserve that. No one deserves this. And like, this is precious to me.
Totally.
You know?
Yeah.
And so sharing this vulnerably in a public space is a real juxtaposition for me. A good example for me is I left being a musician and I hated doing solo work. I hated, being on stage by myself because I didn't like the vulnerability of getting up on stage and being all of myself in front of people. So this whole thing kind of makes me feel like I'm having an allergic reaction sometimes. And having that be the consistent feeling throughout the day, knowing that, a podcast is coming out or knowing that we're about to record another one, because that's basically what happens. The other thing that is always happening is Murphy is always here.
Murphy's always here.
And always being a part of our lives. And I love that.
I also love that. She is my best friend.
She's a wonderful person.
But just so you know, at home, we film a lot of our podcasts with Murphy in the room. You're thinking about what you're saying, but then you're also keeping half an ear and half an eye on her.
Yeah. It's frustrating when your brain is already broken. Yeah. So you already feel like it's split. I'm going to go get this baby. But I can go back to talking about how I'm doing.
Yeah. Keep talking.
So, unfortunately, I've started to develop new symptoms. I've had a reoccurrence of old symptoms, which is not surprising to me because I've made it out of I'm not out of my postpartum, but I'm transitioning slowly out of being a pregnant person, obviously. Yeah. And so all of that was at bay during the pregnancy is now returning. So numbness. Yesterday I was going on a walk and I was leaving the house and was just hit with like a sudden debilitating wave of vertigo. Oh. And so I just felt very nauseous, kind of like I thought I was like getting sick, and then realized, no, remember this happened to you before. Like this is what would happen. Right. I was really frustrated and I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to go on this walk. Yeah. But I ended up having to bring my hiking poles with me. Yeah. Because I had terrible balance. And then we started walking up a hill and both of my legs went numb. Oh. And then I was like, well, I'm not going to stop this walk. Yeah. So we're just going to not do lots of hills today. We're just going to have to be on flat ground. Yeah. But I have my hiking poles, so it should be fine. But it was just really frustrating. Yeah. And I think we talk a lot about how we're really good at being, sarcastic about being disabled and light on our feet about it kind of thing. Yeah. But I just really wasn't feeling like that. And I think the more we talk about it, the less I feel light about it. I am slowly coming to terms with how much I avoid the conversation and the reality.
Do you think that you avoid how you actually feel about it?
Oh, for sure. All the time. Because if I actually thought about it, if I actually think about the fact that I am slowly deteriorating, it's too much of a mindfuck. It's actually terrifying to think about the reality of it. And so the fact that we're doing these podcasts and we keep talking about it and exploring it and reminding ourselves of it, does a real number on the old mental fortitude, on my ability to be resilient about anything. Like, well,
maybe this is our quitting episode.
maybe we're actually going to be done.
This is our letter of resignation to you all. I totally agree. I think it's like bringing us both so much purpose and joy while also putting a big light on all of the things that were always difficult, but we may not have been paying so much attention to.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. We are hilariously optimistic 9 out of 10 days of the week.
Yeah. We make fun of each other 9 out of 10 days of the week. Wait, there's not 10 days in a week, but you know what we mean.
Yeah. You know what we mean. I'm glad that we're doing this because it's probably healthier.
Oh, I think it's much healthier.
I think in a year from now, Murphy will be so proud of us and we will be so proud of ourselves because of the growth that we've done. Mm-hmm. But growing hurts. Yeah. Nobody said that to us when we started this. Nobody said, hey, that might be hard on your emotional stability and your mental health.
No, everyone was like, oh, thank God somebody's talking about it.
Yeah, and also...
Oh, thank goodness.
So many people live with invisible disabilities. Oh, yeah. Like the amount of people that we have connected more with in our regular lives over understanding. People have Crohn's. People have, like, I don't need to name things. Cut that out. You know what I mean.
Well, it's interesting that everyone's kind of coming out of the woodwork. And saying, well, do you know that I have this? And we have a long list of people who we will interview.
Yeah. Oh, we have so many people that we could give a call up and say, hey, come talk about this. Because...
Which may actually be a healthy thing for us to start doing soon. So we can stop talking about our disease.
Shine the light on someone else.
Like if we were to start talking to other people about their own experiences, it would still help us reflect on our experience, but it wouldn't be so immediately related to us.
That sounds funner.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I do love how many people have come forward.
Me too. And I think that this is such important conversation.
I agree. And I want to just reiterate, though, how exhausting this is. And I think it's interesting that we're having an episode that's talking about our mental health and whether or not we should just quit. Because... I mean, it's also kind of annoying to boo-hoo a scenario that you're putting yourself in.
Absolutely. No one is paying us to do this.
No, nobody is paying us. No one is asking us to do it. Although I think people are glad that we're doing it. So I think it's that really challenging place of, I know people appreciate this. I really want to keep talking about it.
Ultimately, we know it's good for us.
Yeah, we know it's healthy for us mentally to be faced with what's happening. You're going to see a therapist about it. I should probably call my therapist about it.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. I have such an aversion to getting into it.
Into therapy or into podcasting?
No, like into talking about things that are challenging. I'm like, yeah, I know it's hard. Like, yeah, I get it. I know this is difficult. Yeah, I know I'm disabled. I get it. Shut up.
We know that stuff already.
Yeah, we know this stuff already.
Now what?
Why do I have to sit with it? Like, why do I have to sit in it? But I think that is a really important activity. I think sitting in it, I don't know. I don't know if this makes sense. So let me talk it out. But you know how like your body holds on to trauma? I wonder if you sit in it and you're faced with it, then your body's doing less of the work of managing it because you're
in the background.
Talking about it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's not always buffering in the background.
Yeah. So it's probably really good.
I think it's good for your nervous system to feel things and allow them to release and then go from there. Yeah. But it's hard to do that. Well, I don't cry very often. I cry like 3 times a year.
Oh, I hate crying.
I tear up a lot. Things make me teary, like cute things, happy things, sad things also. But a week ago, I had a panic attack and I cried. So hard.
What did you have a panic attack about?
So many things. I was stressed about a dental bill that we have for our child. I cried about feeling like not good enough to be doing any of the things that I'm doing.
Like podcasting?
Not specifically this, but feeling unqualified for everything.
Unqualified for life.
Yeah. Feeling like, oh, we haven't talked about this. I went to university. It was college. I'm trying to sound smarter. I went to college for American Sign Language interpreting, which is such a beautiful language, incredible program. I had great teachers. I got to be like immersed in the deaf community for 3 years, was practicing to be an interpreter. And now, spoiler alert,
you're blind.
I'm going blind. So all of that schooling and hard work is null and void.
Oh my God.
So as I'm creating a resume for myself, I feel like a fucking loser. I'm like, I have no post-secondary education to show for.
Murphy thinks it's funny too. She's like,
yeah, thanks, Murph. It's Murphy's Law.
It's Murphy's Law that you would go to
I would go to school to be a sign language interpreter.
Sign language.
And then end up going blind. It's like, why didn't I learn Braille? Something useful. Anyways, so that is not my destiny, but I was getting really hard on myself making a resume, realizing that I don't have education, I don't have experience in fields that don't require me to be fully sighted. So just feeling a little unqualified for life and not knowing what my next steps are is really nerve-wracking for me. So that made me cry. And then I thought, oof, crying is hard, but it feels good after. It's a nice release.
Yeah.
Have you tried it? When was the last time you cried?
Oh my God. Probably when I was pregnant.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I cried. Here's the last time I cried. We came home from the hospital with Murphy, and she was asleep. And Dave went upstairs to have a shower. And I just kind of sat up on the couch with her and turned on Star Trek because I wanted the first things that she heard out of the hospital to be Star Trek.
That's nice.
And Dave came downstairs and he was like, "This is my dream."
Oh,
And then he started crying and then I started crying because it was like Murphy was finally here.
that's so nice.
And we were finally watching Star Trek
with
Murphy.
Yeah.
And it was really, really special. And that's the last time I cried.
You're due for another one.
Don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. I will not cry. I told you, I am a cold-hearted bitch. I do not cry. When people cry, I laugh.
Oh my God, Arielle.
I know. I have a problem. I am problematic. When people are getting sad, I go, oh,
You're
that's so nice.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, that's what I do. I really am not, because
It's okay. It's the MS. You have no filter.
No, it's because I'm a coach. It's because my
You're like,
very existence
fix this.
is like,
How do you make
you
this
got
better?
it. You don't need to cry because you are so capable.
Yeah.
And you're able to do this and you don't have to worry. Just get back up on the horse. I know it hurt to fall.
Yeah.
But everybody falls. People have fell from higher.
Humpty Dumpty.
People have Humpty Dumpty from higher heights.
Yeah.
You will be fine and we'll make it through this.
Yeah.
By we, I mean you, but I'll be here cheering you on.
That is really nice. I do need people like that in my life.
Yeah,
for
but
sit.
I don't.
You can stay around.
I'm not always kind about it, though.
Well, let's talk to your therapist about it.
Okay, I will. I'll talk to my therapist about it. Usually I am full of rage. I never cry.
Yeah.
I just become very angry.
Yeah.
And I think that actually is a newer development since being diagnosed.
Yeah.
That the fear and the sadness comes out as anger.
Yeah.
And the anger just feels so much better. I feel that same catharsis with crying.
Yeah.
When I get mad.
Yeah. That makes
or when
sense.
I'm full of rage.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's an emotional release.
Which I wonder if I should ask Dave if I've been more rageful since starting this podcast. Because I feel like when I'm faced with challenging things, I will either feel like really great about getting over the challenging thing or really mad about the fact that it still exists.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And so I think that's happening right now.
Yeah. Are you feeling like, because I definitely feel like you're a coach. You coach me through things. You encourage me all the time. Do you feel like you coach yourself?
Yeah, but in not a very nice way, though. I coach myself by being like, are you fucking kidding me? Why did you do that like that?
Right.
Why can't you just fix this? Or why can't you figure this out? Or,
right.
You know, like yesterday when I was having trouble walking, I'm like, just keep walking. Obviously, don't stop. I remember saying to Sue, what else am I going to do here? Stop walking? Absolutely not. I mean, that's not a solution, but it feels like the only way I can actually manage the disease.
Right.
Is to
get mad at it.
Yeah, and to
keep
tell
going.
it to shove it.
That feels like such a human response.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I think that's okay. I don't think you're doing anything wrong.
No, I don't think I am either, but I mean, sometimes I could be nicer to other people, though.
Also to yourself. I'd like you to be a bit nicer to yourself.
Thank you. I don't have the bandwidth to do better than what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I should be better to myself. I should be easier on myself. I should take more time when I do things.
There's always so many shoulds. But yeah, we're just going to keep trying. Keep trying and doing what we're doing.
I am grateful that we are doing this podcast. And I think even though it has become really challenging to just exist in the world outside of this podcast because of what we're talking about, I think, like you said, it's still important.
Ironically, it does give me something to look forward to.
Yeah, I also agree. And it becomes a way for me to channel the creativity that I do possess.
Yeah.
I think you and I are both creative people.
I think so too. And I do not give myself credit for that. I have always pointed to the creative people in my life and not associated myself as one of those people.
Oh, interesting.
It's like, no, not me. And now I'm doing something creative, and Jesse and I keep laughing. Like, he's like, look at you editing, making things. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I do have a creative bone in my body. It looks like PowerPoint slideshows, but it is creative.
I'm so glad I'm doing this with you.
I'm glad I'm doing this with you too. One thing that we need to point out is that we are two disabled people. Did you know that? And so we do need support and have needed a lot of support in getting this podcast off the ground.
And sounding incredible.
We have David Ross that has supplied microphones for us, has taught us how to use it, is teaching me how to use DaVinci Resolve, is up all night putting the finishing touches on our episodes so that they sound so beautifully produced.
Yep.
And this episode is actually the first one that he's not doing because I want to learn. So it's going to sound a little different. You might notice. Maybe it's not so cool and fun. Maybe it's not as good as what Dave does, but we're trying our fucking best, okay? Oh, but we're so grateful to Dave for all that he has taught us and all that he has done for us. Now, Arielle would like to talk about somebody else in
Michelle.
In her life.
Our dear friend, Michelle DeLaurier, who is our dear friend and podcast mom and producer of our show.
Yep.
She keeps us on track. She helps us have a schedule every single week so we know what needs to be done when. She gives us ideas. She helps us edit all of our promo teaser stuff.
Yeah.
She's incredible.
She gives us lists that we get to check off, and it feels like we're checking it off for her, so then we have some sort of accountability, because if it was just left to us, we would be like,
You'd never have a podcast to listen to.
No, never.
Yeah, she's incredible. And
She's
so we need
amazing.
to give her all of the glory
And honor and fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we need to thank our friend Josh White, who's also helped us by providing us with microphones many
Joshy
times.
boy. Thank you, bud.
Thanks, Josh. Jesh. I would also like to thank myself. I'd like to thank me
Yeah? For
showing up.
Aw,
And for
you're being nice to
Thank
yourself.
you. I'm trying to be nice to myself.
That's really
I'm actually
kind.
just being a dork.
I
but
see you. I hear you.
I'd like to thank you for showing up, though.
Aw, thanks. Oh, yeah, we're doing it, guys. We are doing it.
We're making this podcast and we like being vulnerable with you, but please be gentle on us because it's hard to do this.
Yeah, we're walking around with all these open wounds now.
That we have, I think, self-inflicted.
Self-inflicted, absolutely.
Yeah, but also I think it's okay for us to be wounded.
Yeah.
Not unlike Christ was.
Yeah. On the cross.
On the cross. For you. You know what?
Should we close in prayer?
Dying on the cross of our diseases for your sins.
Yes.
That's too dark. We don't have to say that.
I kind of like it, though.
I'm glad to be here.
Me too.
Well, what are you looking forward to?
Nothing.
Murphy, did you just take a shit on me? Did you poop on me? Did you poop on me?